Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff, and welcome to my third update now on the GMC Bofors truck. Stein. There are several other people building this along at the same time, so please check out Jeff Donahue's channel, Nigel's Modelling Bench, Ozscale Modelling, and Mad Genius Productions, who are all building this for the same reason. Right, so my update is going to focus mainly on the bonnet here, or the hood, if you don't come from the United Kingdom like I do. So there is an issue with this, and in a minute I will run the video which will show you how I work through those problems and solve those problems. But there is a massive gap here, so there is an issue with the fit of the parts, and you need to work through that. But before we get into that, let me give you an update generally on where we're up to. So I think we'd done the chassis mainly last time. I don't remember if we'd done the front end or not, but that went together really well. There's a couple of ejector pin marks you got to fill, yeah, quite simple construction compared to messing around with the back axle. We have then built this up in the week. Sometimes the instructions are a little bit vague. It was a bit vague around, bear with me, let me get my little pointy device. Not prepared. The photo etch. So you got to fold the photo etch in half, but there's no real instruction as to how far up it should go or how far down it should go. So I've assumed it should meet underneath the radiator. So that's what I've done, and that seems to fit okay. So and it goes, you know, the engine goes in okay. It doesn't foul anything. So even if it is in the wrong place, it doesn't matter that it's in the wrong place particularly. So yeah, so we've built all that up. We've done the photo etch, so that was just rolled at the end around a drill bit. Again, a little bit fiddly, but again, the instructions are really vague. It just says bend, but it doesn't say what part you're bending, and the picture is quite small. So, you know, I had my magnifying glass out to try and understand it, but fortunately, Jeff came to my rescue and sent me a picture of his already done, and that allowed me to get an idea as to what needed to happen. Because at first I thought, I've got to fold these into like handles, but that's not the case. So quite what I thought, I don't know, tie down points for tarpaulin roof or something, don't know. I built up the windows. So we've got the little side brackets on for opening and closing them, although in the instructions it's fixed only. I've not put the glass in because it's going to be easier to paint it and then install the glazing. And I've put the washer wiper motor on, not motors, because one of them flicked across the room out of my tweezers and I have yet to find it. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. It might never be on there. Seats built up, left separate. They're fairly basic, but they're easy enough to get in once you've painted. I've left the valance off, which goes across here. And the reason why we've left it loose fit is so that I can get in with the airbrush in there and chuck some paint down. So yeah, that's all good. So we should be able to get behind all the controls and things with the airbrush and what have you. Then we can glue this in when that's done, and then I can decide what I'm doing with my bonnet. Now, I have got it to fit, as you'll see in a moment. and it fits really nicely now. But like I said, it was a country mile out before, so it's an error with the fitting the parts. But I might still just have it open for the purposes of display. So I need to try and find some pictures and understand if there's some form of support, metal support rod that should be there, because we'd perhaps scratch build that. So and then we've got the radiator grill cleaned up, so that's ready for fitting again at a later stage, because we need access into the lamps there. Lamps are really odd. They've got a solid, they've got the lamp body is hollow, and then they put a bezel on that's solid, and then glass goes on top of that. So that's a bit odd. I don't know why they didn't do the bezels hollow. I could have drilled it out, but we're trying to build this at speed, in fairness. So that's where I'm up to. Not got as much done this week as I'd hoped, but I've had a busy week one way or another. But yeah, that's where we're up to. So let me show you how I dealt with the problem of the bonnet that won't fit. Okay, we are on step 8 of the build, and it's asking us to, well, in step 7 it's asking us to put this in, which fits in there, and it doesn't fit particularly well. And then later on, right near the end of the build, it asks you to put the bonnet on. And I've test fitted this now because I want to make sure everything's okay, and everything is not okay. There is a rather large gap there. That's what, 1.5 millimeters maybe. So yeah, on both sides. So that's not good. So what we're going to do in this update is we're going to focus on how we correct that. Now, it is sat a little bit too high on the hinge right now. So one thing we can do is reduce the inside surface of there, just to help that sit down a little bit. We could take it out of the bonnet, but only if you're going to have the bonnet sealed up, which is my intention, in fairness. But we've also got this sitting a bit high. I don't know if it's not sitting within these two little lips properly or not. I suspect possibly not, but it has to line up with the little dip in there. But you can see there's a gap there, so that's not even sitting nicely. This edge here is rolled, so probably wants flattening. This appears to not be very level either, so if I get my straight edge, you can see there's a bit of a step there. So that's going straight out like that, and that's going down at an angle like that. Now the bonnet is flat and true because I've tested it. So if we put the bonnet on, it's not too happy. So I think there's leveling off this. There's a little bit of a step here. So we've got to make sure that's perfectly level. And then I think we've got to take some material out of there to thin it down. We've got to square off the edge there, and then maybe reduce that, take that lip out and reduce that down so that it sits a little bit lower. That's my theory at the moment. I don't want to put material in because it'll make things look odd. So if I can reduce it all down, that's my best way of working. So first thing I'm going to do is take a little bit of material out of there. So I'm going to do that with a sponge. So this is a 400 sponge, so quite aggressive, but we want to take material out fairly quickly. And then what we can do is we can go in with a coarse sander and just square off that edge at the back. So let's just see how that looks with the bonnet on now. So what I'm looking for is this top edge of the bonnet to be in line with the top edge of this, the valance there. Yeah, that's about right now. That bonnet is about right. Happy with that, I think. Well, we can't glue any of this in now. I need this to be not installed until after we've painted, just so that we can get the airbrush in there, and then we can glue that in afterwards. Is my thought. I mean, the other way of doing it would be to not put that in, but that's still getting in the way a little bit, I think. So we'll leave that off. So next thing we need to do is sort out this here. So let's not be light-hearted about it. Let's get stuck in and get some material out of there. We can tidy it up and smooth it off afterwards, but right now I'm just going to go in with a file and square that off. And then we're going to do the same here at this edge. I mean, yeah. And we're also going to square off this rounded edge and see if that makes a difference to the sit. And then if we get a round, like a rat tail file, we can just work that dip a little bit. There we go. Right. So I'm going to just tidy those, because we've been in with a file, it leaves quite a bit of swarf and fuzzy bits and pieces. So just going to scrape them clear a little bit. I don't expect it to be right first time, so let's have a look at how this fits. Still seems to be fairly high to me. Let's have a look. I mean, we've certainly not taken a millimetre of material off. Yeah. So I'll take this lip off. some of the moulding on this is a bit lumpy in places, and I don't think that's helping. So I'm just going to make sure we're nice and flat. There we go, should be. So you can see the problem. Let me just get something to point with. Where's my awl when I want it? There it is. Took the lid off and left it behind. So you can see we've got a gap here. And that's about the equivalent of the gap that we've got there. So for me, the issue seems to be this bulkhead is sitting too high and this part here is oversized. So we've straightened everything up. Everything's nice and flush and straight now. So the only thing that can be wrong is the sit of this. And it's not the most positive part to fit, but you have to sort of pop it down, and then there's two little pips that go underneath, and even then you've got to press it down, and I had to hold it in place while we were gluing it. So yeah, I'm going to take this down further, and I'm just going to make sure that this is all level as well. So again, we'll go in with a file because it's the quickest way of removing material en masse. So there we go. I'll do the same on the other side, although it didn't seem to be much higher on this side for some reason. Right, and now what we can do is just take some more material off. Right. Right, that's looking a lot tighter now, but I don't think we've solved the problem yet. No, that is weird. It's definitely that bulkhead that's the problem. Right. Going to reduce this inside edge, I think. I think it's a job for a power tool. Right then, time to bring out the big guns on this, I think. So it's difficult to get in with sanding and filing and stuff because you've got a short distance to move and what have you. Scraping would take some time, so it's time to get the burrs out. So what I think is go with one that's even. There we go. Put it on a slow speed because obviously it is plastic and we will melt it. Put my glasses on. Okay, let's just get rid of that lot. Let's just tidy that up and we'll see if we've made any difference to the fit. We certainly reduced the material down somewhat. It's a bit lumpy there, so I just need to tidy that up. Right, let's see what difference that makes. It's when you've got fit issues like this, it's just a process of elimination really, and I try not to go to sorting out the symptom, but try and sort out the problem if I can, which you can't always. And so, sometimes the problem is the modeler not getting things to fit right. But in this instance, I'm fairly sure it's a combination of the thickness of that and the height of the bulkhead. Yeah. Yeah, we need to take a little bit more out of this, I think. Come on. We're definitely reducing it, but we're still a way off. Seems to be higher on one side than the other, which I'm just trying to correct. Just a case of keep test fitting, seeing where your gaps are, looking at what's causing things to be out of line, and then whittling it down. Of course, when you're doing the amount of sanding and material removing that we're doing now, it changes the shape, and so you've got to keep correcting the shape so that everything beds down and sits properly. I'll be interested to see how Nigel tackles this. Yeah, I think that will sit better now. Yeah, look at that. We have closed that gap now. So the issue was a combination of the height of this bulkhead and the thickness of that material. And effectively what was happening was this part, rather than being straight, was being tilted backwards, which was lifting that bonnet up, and that was what was causing the gap. So now we've sorted that, we can tidy it up a little bit, so we don't want to leave it looking all messy like that. So just going to give it a get rid of all the bearing, and then I'm going to go in with a 400 and just level it off. Then we can start dropping down the grits and tidying it up. And the important thing here is to go in the opposite direction, because that gets rid of the scoring left by the grit quicker. If you keep going in the same direction, it's a lot harder to get rid of your witness of sanding. And we'll go 800. And 1,000. $2,000. And that's probably enough, because this isn't, I would carry on if we were going to see it, but this is just to make sure we've got a nice smooth non-bumpy contact when we come to glue it. So again, we can just get in there and scrape it clean again after the sanding. Okay, and then we can do the old cement trick just to tidy it up. So it just gets rid of all the fluffy bits of swarf and dust, and gives us a nice tidy area to work with. Right, there we go. Okay, so that is that bit done and corrected, and we'll do the same in here. We'll just tidy that up too. So where's my scraper? Why is it important to get rid of all the dust? Well, you don't want it blowing around your paint booth when you're spray painting, that's why. So there you have it. That was my solution to the fit issue that's been caused by trumpeter making oversized parts. And our parts are nice and clean and sorted out, smooth and so on. So let me just so we should be able to just click all this together when we're ready, and it'll be good. And we didn't have to do anything with the bonnet at all, so I can clean that up and put that to one side ready for painting, along with this, which won't be getting painted until we paint everything. But yeah, we now have sorted the gap issue, and I've not had to resort to filling and that sort of stuff, which is, you know, sometimes it's the easiest way, and this has been a little bit time consuming, but I've not edited it out. You've seen it all, so not too bad. And I've got a solution. Might not be the tidiest, it's a little lumpy and stuff, but we're going to have the bonnet closed. So when we plop that on there like that and put the bonnet on, that's all good, and that fits lovely now. So the next thing that we want to try and test fit is this grill that goes in the front. Again, this won't be being glued into place just yet either, because I want to paint that black. So, and that goes in front. So these two parts can be left in my parts box ready for painting at a later date. So we've got quite a collection of little parts turning up now, so we can plop that in. I can put the chairs in as well, and we can tidy up the bonnet and put that in. Excellent. So there you have it. That's how we've sorted that problem. So yeah, all good. Go and check out on everybody else's builds that I've mentioned earlier on, and see the different ways we're tackling the same problems that we're all having, and different ways of painting it, different ways of building it up, and thought process. I noticed Nigel's painted his up differently without the engine installed and stuff. So we're all doing it slightly differently, so it's good to compare all of those builds. That's the good thing about a buddy build, really. So thanks for looking in. I will do another update next Thursday, when I hope to be a fair bit more further on than I am. And until then, I will see you tomorrow on the live build premiere, and then I'll see you on Saturday on Table Talk. And we've got quite a bit to talk about this week, so I'll see you there. Thanks for looking in. You enjoy your modelling. Bye for now.